Well, Roland, thank you so much for bringing us into the Roland Martin Unfiltered Network. This is Truth Talks, y'all. We keep it real. Let's go.
Are y'all ready to roll? Let's go.
Welcome, truth tellers, to Truth Talks, the show that gives you black people arguing like we're at the barbecue. We used to be the #1 show on Fox Soul, but now we're here on our new home with Roland Martin because we needed a bigger and blacker platform, but it's still the same opinionated, unapologetic, super black truth-telling on Truth Talks. We got some new folks. We got some old stars returning back. Dr. Bryant is here, of course, because she's our superstar. What up, Dr. B?
Listen, Torre, there's two things that stuck out to me. You said big and you said black. Okay, I'm back. My bad. I'm back. Listen, truth tellers, we are going to talk about more things than big and black on here. And it's going to be a real good evening. We got some cool trending topics and some really strong opinions. So y'all stay tuned.
We got topics, we got opinions, we got 4 different people, different generations, different parts of the country. Some people are coming from different parts of the world. Give it up for Dr. Sarah Fontenot, where are you from? Or from Antarctica?
Oh my gosh, I'm from Canada. Okay, hold up. Regina, Saskatchewan, guys, representing. But no matter what, I've definitely had a black experience my entire life. So I'm just excited to share and really expand what the spectrum of being black, bold, and unapologetic looks like. Let's go, Truth Talks.
You have a podcast called It's Giving, but what city are you from?
I'm from Regina. The
Interesting.
slogan is the city that rhymes with fun.
Dimitri, what you think about that?
I gotta go there now.
Give it up for our new co-host, big bro Dimitri Wiley from the Lost Lover Boy podcast. Welcome to the team.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, man. I'm just excited. I'm excited that my voice matters in such a powerful platform. Thank you, guys.
I'm Torre. You know me. I've been in the game forever. Let's get into it. Trending truth story number 1. Al B. Shore is part of the whole Diddy situation. Not yet part of the trial, because this trial is wild. Al B. Shore, of course, is part of Diddy's world. He was with Kim Porter before Diddy. He has a child with Kim Porter, the late Kim Porter, who was with Diddy at her end. Al B. Shore has been saying some insane things on local New York television that were hugely viral. This is the big, Dimitri, you should know, he was a gigantic singer in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, super lover man, huge R&B star, but saying some crazy things about Diddy. Let's roll that clip.
Living this life. And the only reason I wanted to tell the story, Kurt, was very specifically because I was ignored. There was the most expensive PR campaign against me to shut me down. If you actually knew what they did to me, there was a bounty on my head. There was a bunch of stuff.
So do you think specifically then that Sean Diddy Combs or people affiliated with him did something to you that caused you to have multi-organ failure?
I believe this to be the case, yes.
So he's saying that Diddy poisoned him. He also says in that interview that he believes that Diddy had a lot to do with Kim Porter's passing. There's also talk about what happened to Heavy D. He also died of pneumonia at a relatively young age. He was also in the Diddy universe close to him. So we keep saying, what is going on? This is a lot of mystery. We have no clarity in this area, but there's a lot of smoke, Dr. B. What is going on here?
You know, honestly, it's a lot of smoke, but the fire, which is Diddy, seems to be getting put out. And it seems to be, all of these folks, male and females, who were victim to his, his power struggle, his entitlement, his, being that he thought he was just untouchable type of thing. And so I think what we're seeing is just, again, what goes on in the dark does come to the light, and we can be in a closet, but at some point we open that thing up to see what we're going to put on, and we are seeing with our own eyes, you know, what Diddy had going on in that thing. And I think it's really sad and unfortunate that you have so many people that have very similar stories and very similar experiences that took them this long to speak out about, you know, their experiences and about this abuse. And it shows you, and I'll land on this, it shows you the magnitude of the power that Diddy held and still hands. And it took him to be behind bars where these people believe that they're protected from him for them to speak up. I really believe Diddy.
Dimitri, yes to all that, but here's the thing. Al B. Sure's not yet in a court of law. So this is not yet having an impact on the Diddy trial. It's having an impact on what we think of Diddy. But the government said you were a racketeer. You had a criminal enterprise. Does this Al B. Sure story told from outside the courthouse, does it matter?
I think the thing about it is it's outside. Like you said, it could be an entire publicity stunt, because you may not know, but I'm very familiar with Al B. Sure is, but a lot of the generation under me has no idea, right? So this could be a way for Al B. Sure to now bring himself to some sort of relevancy. Because, you know, once in the industry, you kind of, it's hard to seeing yourself move out of the industry. Or Al B. Sure and Diddy could have gone through something, and now he just feels propelled to tell the story.
Are you saying you don't believe Al B. Sure?
I'm not saying I don't believe Al B. Sure, but what I am saying is pattern tells the story, right? And if Al B. Sure's problem was Heavy D's problem, was Kim Porter's problem, I'm saying it's something to look into. But I only want to hear about it in the court of law where it actually convicts who we're talking about.
Sarah, I've seen people smarter about science than me, and that's most of the country, explain that if you give somebody a certain amount of cyanide, that may appear to take them out in a way that looks like pneumonia. So this is a theory that some people are having about. This is why you see Heavy D, middle age, Kim Porter, middle age, Al B. Sure, middle age. The first two of them died. Al B. Sure got sick and survived. Similar. So this is something that people are talking about. What do you think about this whole thing? If it seems like maybe Diddy was poisoning people?
It could be that way, and I bet he was doing a lot more than that. And this is sheer speculation, but can I just go off the Richter scale a little bit? Because when I was hearing him talk, my mind went to a very terrible place. Is it okay?
Yeah,
yes, it's okay. Okay,
go
good.
For it, girl. Go for it.
I want to know where you go before I say okay, but let's hear it.
Okay,
go
so when
for it, Sarah.
This man said what he did to me. Okay, maybe he did poison him, but like, was he a part of the early freak offs? And what I start thinking of is, if you were, I've heard conversations with super successful people that try really weird things, like inserting very large objects into an anus. And if that is the truth, then multiple organ failure can be caused by a bowel perforation, by tissue damage. It can cause infection, all of these different things, and sheer speculation. Okay, I don't know that, man. But what I do know is I have questions. Was it cyanide or was it a freak off?
And are you saying you think, Sarah, that Diddy was the one that was engaging in these objects being put in him? Are you saying that it might have happened outside of Diddy?
Hold on one second, Sarah. Heretofore, as far as this trial, we have not heard any mass freak off conversation. It is so far in this trial, it has only been Cassie, Diddy, and a sex worker in a room at one time. We thought we were going to get Eyes Wide Shut, Hollywood, all these black stars doing wild things together. We have not heard that yet. That may have happened. I cannot tell you it didn't happen. I can tell you we don't have concrete evidence of it happening and somebody like Al B. Sure, people in Diddy's universe being part of that. We only know about 3-person freak-offs so far. Dr. B.
Yeah, that's why I was asking Sarah, was she saying that she believes that this was did she believe, not were they true facts? Does she believe that this is something that Al B. Sure and Diddy were doing with each other? Or was she saying that she believes Al B. Sure was having these type of experiences with someone outside of Diddy and that may have caused organ failure? I was trying to figure out her angle with that. That's why I was asking Dr. Sarah.
Trying to figure out how she knows that.
I don't know.
Because me and Dimitri know nothing about that. This is completely news to me.
I got a special guest coming. I'll bring you Diddy. No, it's just fucking around.
Woo, things get hot today.
Oh no, it's sheer speculation. I do think that this man has been pushing the limit since before time, really, and it's been behind doors, and he started incorporating more and more people, and thus there's that.
Diddy has been pushing the limits. We have no idea whether or not Al B. Shore has been pushing any limits. We don't know. Trending topic number 2. This is actually a really interesting, slightly heartwarming story, maybe. SZA, who's on tour with the great Kendrick Lamar right now. Fantastic concert. I saw it in New Jersey. Absolutely worth the money. But she found a young fan using whippets, nitrous oxide, and she stopped the child in exchange for a photo with her. And she made the point on her platform, on her IG, that they are clearly selling these things and marketing them to children. And you can see that with the bright colors and the naming and all the, like, it's clear. And nitrous oxide is a high. It cuts off oxygen to the brain, creating a euphoric high. Dimitri, wait till after the show to do it. So this is already illegal. But we are giving kids an opportunity to learn how to get high and have high seeking behavior that may or may not turn into addiction. It won't turn into addiction for most people. But I'm definitely concerned, Dr. B, at like even conditioning children to be aware of like, hey, here's how to get high and getting you into that pattern.
Well, this is the thing, Torre, with the U.S. having the highest overdose rate in the world, not in the nation, in the world, that is a problem. And for SZA to have that mindset of saying, wait a minute, if I can just save one child, right, that can possibly save 2 or 3 or 4 because it only takes one and it starts with one. I think that was a great deed that she's doing. I also think that, a lot of these brands know exactly what they're doing. They're not concerned with youth or community or people or race. They're trying to make the dollar. They're trying to make money. And if kids, buying this and consuming this is something that makes them money, that's all they care about. And lastly, I want to say this, not only does it cut off the oxygen to your brain, so you get this euphoric high, but if your brain is limited to oxygen for a long period of time, even if death isn't something that becomes a result, that there is a high chance of being brain dead. There's a high chance of those individuals having deeply rooted neurological issues where they can end up being a vegetable. They can end up losing, a huge percentile of their functionality. And that doesn't always end up being death. There's long-term repercussions to doing this type of drug. And again, U.S. is at the highest overdose rate in the whole world. We have a problem, an epidemic with that already.
Dimitri, is this a big issue in your world?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As a dad, listen, Tori, as a dad, I'm trying to do better for my seed. But for me,
how old's your baby?
He's 5. He's finna graduate kindergarten. I'm so excited. But anyway, he's 5 years old. So for me, it's super personal because it's not about banning a drug. It's about banning the profit of Black pain, in my opinion. In my opinion, this isn't some wash away thing that once it's gone, it's gone. No, this is impact. This lasts. There's so many questions I have regarding this. Like, why is it easier to find strawberry banana gas than to find a healthy snack for my son in America? Like, I don't understand it. You understand what I'm saying? And the thing about it is, another fair point, I think selling it is not that we failed as a society, but we are creating the failure as a society. Like this lasts, and the impact that'll come from it is absolutely ridiculous. Dr. B, she's just giving you all of those facts behind it. It's crazy.
Dr. B, you ever get high?
I do, Torre. I get high off of my workouts after my endorphins are released. I get high after some really good lovemaking because my dopamine is released as well. And I also get high when I see every one of my clients have a breakthrough because it is something that literally gives me a natural high. Now, I have in the past consumed CBD at night because it did help relax me and help me go to sleep. It didn't have THC in it. So I don't know if that's considered me getting high, but what I do know is that about 15 minutes after I took a little puff of the CBD, your girl was out for a good 8 hours and I woke up very, very freaking recharged. So I don't know if that counts, but yeah, maybe so.
Sarah, I I don't want children to be consuming things and having the getting high experience, right? Like you should wait until you're an adult to start doing that. But I do think there is a general value in the self-exploration that you can have when you're in an altered state, if you do it properly. I don't want you or anyone to try crack or cocaine, but if you smoke marijuana or you do something like MDMA in a thoughtful way, you can have deep personal revelations about who you are as a person that you could not have if you didn't. And to me, it's as similar as like, I think we all should travel to Japan and India and other places to expand. And when you travel to the world of your brain on MDMA or your brain on marijuana, like you could have, what do you think about that? I bet that's pretty challenging to you.
Yeah, well, I feel like those experiences aren't happening for our children. Most of our children that are experiencing drugs aren't doing it for deep revelations. They're doing it because it's the cool thing to do. They're doing it because they saw someone else do it. So first and foremost, I just appreciate SZA for using her platform to really create this awareness around this is not the type of drug that's like an MDMA or like cannabis, weed, whatever you want to call it, THC. This is not that thing. It can literally, like, you can become brain damaged. And my other question is, and I don't know if you guys used to do this, maybe it was a Canadian thing, but what happened to the days, did you guys ever almost like knock yourselves out with your breathing? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
That was Canadian.
Oh, okay. We used to do this thing where we would stand up against the wall and we would bend at our hips and we would take 20 deep breaths and then we would stand up and hold our breath for 10 seconds and then we would breathe really fast and it would be like,
Dimitri, that's why Drake is the way he is, because he did shit like that as a kid. Shit like this is why y'all should be the 51st state. Just come on in and it'll be better. We have games for the kids.
It's a good time. But what I will say is those types of things aren't causing brain deficiencies. If our kids are going to start to try new drugs, then please don't let it be one that's killing them. Don't let it be heroin. Don't let it be crack. Don't let it be nitric oxide, because this is just not good for our children.
She's absolutely right. Hold on, Dimitri, she's absolutely right. That like we don't want to do things. We don't want our children to do things that are going to be physiologically dangerous for them. But a lot of us in the community smoke marijuana or gummies or whatever way you want to consume it. And I think it helps a lot of us who are adults get through the day. Yeah. And I think it's a really important and valuable way of helping us get through the day. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I mean, but Torbay, as far as this nitric oxide, I want to end with saying that it causes an intense B12 deficiency, which is already an issue within the Black community. People with melanin skin already suffer from the B12 and the vitamin D deficiency because of our melanin. It also leads to serious physical and psychological issues. So this is not just something like death that we are trying to prevent. We are also trying to prevent the issues that come before death becomes the result of it. And so it's a bigger problem than just saying, hey, don't use this drug because you can die. Don't use this drug because you might fucking live. And you might live to be psychologically impaired to a point where you cannot be a law-abiding citizen and have a good quality of life.
That's good.
I feel that. Good.
I think in my opinion, it's less about the drug, more about the impact. It's children. We're speaking of children. Like, the thing about it is, as anyone may know, there's a gateway drug before there's ever hardcore drugs.
Yep.
All the time. Yep. And I'm not saying everybody reaches those places or those steps, but if you begin any grown habit young, you'll be grown regretting it.
I want to push back against the notion of a gateway drug. I think that individuals may be biologically or socially prepared to become addicts, right? It may come from your family or the way that you see the world, right? But it's not like if I give you marijuana, you will eventually move on to cocaine. Like, I don't think that's really accurate.
What I know and what I've seen, those who reach a certain high, when it no longer does it, they reach further. And that's how it goes. And the thing about it is not only that, it's the idea that when you're breeding it in children, peer pressure is crazy.
Yes.
And I just want to say this, Torbay, really quick to add to Dimitri. He's correct about the gateway drugs, because the relapse rate is at a 92%, and about 87% of the relapses happen from what Dimitri just described, the gateway drug. Someone who is, let's say, addicted to crack cocaine, they end up having a drink, or they end up smoking something small as marijuana, and that gateways into their preferred addiction or preferred drug. So yes, absolutely.
Let's talk about some politicking. I love that word, politicking. And I love this segment. Wild story out of New Jersey, right next to my state of New York. 2 Black elected officials went to visit the ICE detention center in New Jersey, which is new, which is their responsibility to provide oversight and check on what is going on over there. They went there on 2 separate moments. Newark Mayor Ras Baraka and recently Congresswoman LaMonica McIver went to this ICE detention center and were arrested. LaMonica McIver was arrested for assault. It's their job to do oversight on these things. And do we have video of the arrest? Because it's so dramatic. Maybe not. So look, we have Trump overstepping his boundaries, right? We have had people arrested at protests in the past. I'm not even sure we can fully put this in that same category as those. But this is elected officials. They should not be being arrested doing basic oversight. Dr. B, this makes me think about authoritarianism.
Does it make you think of that? Does it make you think of retaliation, Torre? Does it make you think of how possibly ICE being aggressive towards this Congress woman is retaliating against the fact that, possibly their oversight is not allowing them to do what their quote unquote job is supposed to be? To me, it looks like something that says, if we can't move in the dictatorship way that we want to move, then guess what? We'll arrest. And guess what? We're pressed. And guess what? We will try fear-based tactics to show you that as you are operating in what we are supposed to have, which is a democracy that is supposed to do a checks and balance amongst people to say, hey, let me check in to make sure that you are balancing your job of overseeing somebody. And the oversight committee is supposed to make sure that who they're overseeing is doing what? Following the rules, the regulations, and the protocols based on the bylaws or the constitutional rights of how they're supposed to do it. That's what democracy is about. You do your job while we protect the people. Dimitri, if it doesn't go the way we want it, we're going to throw in some other shit so that we can shake you up and have you do it the way that we want it to be done. Dictatorship and retaliation.
Dimitri, there's a white judge in Wisconsin who was arrested for supposedly helping an immigrant escape, whatever. It's not just us. But in a world where they are attacking DEI, attacking Black history, attacking Black people in so many ways, to see Black elected officials arrested in this way, this is very frightening. It feels like an attack on all of us.
Oh, for sure. And I think the thing about it is a very, very powerful when I say here and register in my brain. You guys just put it there. But when the justice system starts arresting the people in charge of protecting it, it's doing exactly what it was built to do. And I don't want that to go over too many people's head. The idea, America has always feared Black power more than they have Black crime. That's why they're...
Say that bar again.
If you're going to make me say it, I'm going to have to say it. My grandma watching. You know what I'm saying? But no, in all actuality, I'm going to say it again. America has always feared Black power more than it has Black crime. That's why they take our leaders. The thing about it is you cut a snake off at its head in order to kill it. Its head, meaning they know exactly how to keep the control. This place we're living in is at a terrible state,
That was really brilliant. I think that part of what we're seeing here, that cruelty is the point. The speed is the point. The right loves to remind us Obama deported more people than Trump is on track to deport. But Trump keeps giving us videos of it. He gave us an ASMR video of it. He gave us Kristi Noem standing in front of CCOT in El Salvador. They want us to see these videos. They want us to know, like, we are coming after you. Like, it's frightening and disgusting, and they are trying to deport as many people as fast as possible, so we don't care about due process, but also as cruelly, as with as much show as possible, so that everybody, I think there's an attempt to create fear in like everybody in the country. What do you think, Sarah?
I agree with you 1000%. You actually took the words right out of my mouth. This is a power play. One of the easiest ways to get power is to create fear. And as long as the DOJ is in Trump's pocket, as long as we are literally stuck in this space where blacks and coloreds and blacks and browns are going to be arrested for heinous charges like assault when they were literally doing their job, we will always be moving backwards. And so I think that it's really important for us to be aware of the power that's moving right now. Like Dimitri said, you've got to cut it off at its head. But how do you cut it off at its head when the three different things that are supposed to keep each other safe by challenging one another are all working together, doing whatever Trump says he wants them to do?
Hey, we don't say colored anymore, Sarah. That was
I was like, hold on, sis. Hold on.
Dimitri, going back to the note about black power is actually more frightening than black criminality. Ross Baraka is running for governor of New Jersey.
Yeah.
And you wonder if folks said like, hey, let's hem him up for a minute. He gets out of jail right away, right? He's the mayor. But they're like, this could make him look bad as he tries to rise up in power.
Yep. And it's a tactic, it's strategic, very, very concise. And I think the thing about it is what I fear in any enemy of mine more than anything else, more than brute force, more than power, more than strength, is intelligence. When you can do something strategically to create a narrative that'll change the shape of how everything goes. I think the idea of it is you can't, for me personally, you cannot assault a system that was designed to assault first. It's not assault. And they can label it as whatever they want, but that's not how I see it.
This leads into the main topic that I want to get into, because they were there to look at ICE. We should look at ICE and try to understand the way that ICE is being used as Gestapo stormtroopers for Trump who operate outside of the law, aren't constrained by due process, aren't even constrained by needing a warrant to arrest you, aren't even necessarily telling you who they are when they arrest you. So we're creating this almost sort of Nazi stormtrooper who is able to arrest anybody. And at first we were told it would just be the hardcore criminals, but it quickly moved on to people who are not criminals, people who just are on old visas or were here, but their status isn't perfect, but like they're not criminals. And then we're moving on to activists who support Palestine, which is a whole other thing. But some of these arrests are so showy and frightening and disgusting and even hard to watch. Like, let me show you one.
Stop, ma'am! Stop! Stop! Definitely a chaotic scene on Eureka Street Thursday as Worcester police and ICE agents detained a mother and her 16-year-old daughter. That girl's face slammed into the ground as she was taken into custody. They have not been identified. Worcester police said officers were dispatched to the area for a report of a federal agent surrounded by about 24 people. When police arrived, they say the teen daughter was holding a newborn baby in her arms and standing in front of the ICE vehicle that was trying to leave with their mother inside. Officers told her she was endangering the baby, so she handed the newborn to a relative, but police allege as the ICE vehicle drove away, she ran after it and kicked the side of it. She was arrested and charged with reckless endangerment of a child, disturbing the peace, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest.
This is really hard to watch. The woman who is holding the baby is the other woman, the daughter, who ends up getting arrested. I think these sort of videos that are traumatizing for us to watch is what the Trump administration wants us to see, Dimitri.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. That's the tactic. That's the trick. I think a woman at that. Look how many. I can't even go. Look how much force it takes to contain a woman. A woman, one woman. And the thing about it is, it's in order for it to be televised, for it to be seen, just like Dr. Sarah said, it creates a fear, and fear breeds power. This is, I think, at the one of the most intelligent plays they're running. Not to say what they're doing is intelligent, but one of the most intelligent plays they're running that I see. It's disheartening.
And you know, it would be one thing if they were getting it right. And the point of due process is also to make sure that you get it right. Is this person actually in MS-13? Is this person actually an immigrant? Can we actually deport them to that country? Do you have the evidence to prove what you are saying? And if you don't need those things, then you know what we have? A country where Trump can say, I want him removed, and you are removed. For example, Mahmoud Khalil, pro-Palestinian activist, Columbia University student, father, peaceful person who was deported just because he's a pro-Palestinian activist, right? And this is what we're getting, a political usage of this to silence people who are speaking out on the other side.
Yeah, first of all, Tori, you said Trump can say, hey, I want this person to be arrested. I want this person, whether they're an immigrant or not, or a proven immigrant or not, to be detained by ISIS, and he can just do that. Well, you're damn right. You know why, Dr. Sarah Dimitri, Torre, and Truth Tellers? You know why? Because Trump made sure that he himself has qualified immunity while he is in office. So he can damn near do whatever the hell he wants to do. You're correct. And he had a judge that he appointed from his first term give him qualified immunity. Now, let's go a little further. This is something that is modern day terrorizing by the U.S. government with intentional trauma. They are intentionally traumatizing people to make sure that everybody sees it, secondary trauma, so that not just the person who is being perpetrated and traumatized is now becoming fear-based, but the entire optics of the world, not just the country that sees it, has to also be one that is involved with being in fear for their life. Really quick, I have a maid. We have beautiful, amazing maids that are not from this country, right? Immigrants are not, I don't know. When Trump first started this ISIS stuff, my maid said, look, Dr. Bryant, we are quitting. We're not coming into work because we're afraid that we might get picked up or somebody might call on us. Okay, these are our maids who her husband has diabetes. He's on dialysis. My point is they have a lot of stuff going on. And she just now started coming back to work. But ISIS created such a fear factor in people that folks weren't even showing up. They were hiding. Families were being ripped apart. And again, that causes 2 layers of trauma that is happening from our government that is supposed to be based on our democracy that is operating more as a dictatorship.
Sarah, go.
Yeah, and the thing for me, even this is already massive, but the scariest part about this is when you have a warrantless arrest, like when they don't have to show you who they are, you don't need any identification. You can just show up and say that I'm ICE. Is what if now predators start to pose as ICE? And what if these people that are being literally captured like they're criminals or they're animals? What happens if now these predators are taking and these people are like, oh, okay, anything you want, and now rape, now serial killers, now abusers, or whatever it could be, because there's no rules, regulations. It's just chaos. And the fact that these people feel so much power, because the one thing that really stood out for me in this video that really just pissed me off, I don't even cuss, y'all, but this really just pissed me off, is seeing that large white man pushed a woman away with full force, turn away, and then he saw someone else coming and then aggressively went to grab her to hold her back. The audacity of it. You don't need that much force to be crystal clear, but the fact that these people are now given authority because Trump said that it's okay and everyone is moving in his little pocket, I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with children going home and now dad is gone.
100%. 100%. Let's look at how bad it can be. Roll the clip about the Oklahoma family.
Grady. Like, you do all of this to a family, to women, your fellow citizens, and it was a little rough. You have literally traumatized me and my daughters for life.
This family has virtually nothing.
And I said, when are we gonna get our stuff back? He was like, it could be days or it could be months.
Nothing but questions.
Well, what if I would have been armed? What if you're breaking in What am I supposed to think? My initial thought is we were being robbed. My daughter's being female, daughter's being kidnapped.
Nothing but likely lifelong trauma.
We have guns pointed at our faces. Can you just reprogram yourself and see us as humans, as women, a little bit of mercy, and care a little bit about your fellow human mate, about your fellow citizen, like fellow resident. We bleed too. We bleed just like anybody else bleeds. We were scared. You could see in our faces that we were terrified.
Dimitri, this is a mistaken ID. They were not actually supposed to be having ICE attention that day. They had done nothing wrong. And ICE is bursting in. Warrantless arrests by faceless cops. This is very authoritarian, very dictatorship, very much we can do anything we want to any citizen, no matter what. And we're getting into a situation with the Trumpies where they're saying, we may arrest somebody, but if we make a mistake, too bad. You can't do anything. Even the Supreme Court says, you got to get Kilmer Abrego Garcia back. They're like, he's in another country. There's nothing we can do. So you made a mistake and it's not your responsibility to fix it. And Dimitri, I think about also like her husband on the East Coast, right? He's not there. Imagine if that's your girl and this is her story.
That's all that ran through my brain, honestly. As a man, I don't think what a lot of people realize, and this is in a relationship sense, once a sense of security leaves to any degree, whether you're around or not, it's gone for good. There's the trauma she now has to live through, even when her man is present, is now something you've caused in their relationship. That's one. But two, I think the idea of it is if ICE can go kick in the door of a citizen, what does the word citizenship mean?
Nothing.
It has no meaning at all. Has my time come? It has no fucking meaning at all. And I truly feel like her having to move forward from this, the traumatic experience that's the child has to endure going forward, growing up. I think this is absolutely crazy. All for you to take no accountability of what's been done. No repercussions, no nothing. Wipe your hands clean and not even return what's owed to them. Is
Dr. B.
Hey, look, this takes me to March 13, 2020. You know what I'm talking about, Torre. Say her name. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Let me tell you why. Because this woman in this video said, suspect doesn't live here. Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend didn't live there and was not there. And this is where the Breonna Taylor Act came into play, which means what? Police have to notify you of who they are and why they're there before they can enter and use that warrant. But guess what? That act, that is actually a policy, is not being used still to this day. That act that which is a policy isn't even being used when it comes to our citizens. So therefore, we got policies and legislation again that our government, our president is not respecting, that we as citizens are expected to respect. So what I'm saying is, the lady said it. She said, we bleed too. And when she said that, everything in me got so emotional, because what she's describing is human rights. She's saying we're humans at the end of the day. We bleed too. Even if we are immigrants, cool. Go to the protocol, still respect us as humans, and maybe put us where you want us. But you don't have to terrorize us. You don't have to take our humanity and our dignity from us, from a place that we can never come back from it. And all I seen in this, y'all, was March 13th, 2020, my sis Breonna Taylor, who lost her life for a man who wasn't even in her home, from officers who came in there. And the only justice that was served, that wasn't even justice, was her boyfriend, who fired off a warning shot, got some millions that could never replace that woman's life.
Sarah,
totally unacceptable.
Oh man, it really, this is heartbreaking because I do know families that have experienced this. You know, I was living in Los Angeles and I had friends that experienced losing family members. And it is so hurtful to literally stand there and watch your family member get dragged away. Right. And so it's crazy because ICE was created in 2003 and their annual budget is $8 million.
Billion.
Is their annual budget. They have over 20,000 law enforcement with personnel, and they have over 400 offices. And so for me, the difference that I'm really experiencing is why was it that Obama was able to deport people so much more at this rate without this fear-induced craziness and chaos? But you know what? This is what I start to think about, because you guys know my brain works in a very strange way. I start to think, yes, definitely. I start to think that what if Trump is showing these detentions of cruelty, is treating these people like criminals, is televising it in this way to, in a weird way, somehow inspire people, quote unquote, to self-deport?
Well, that's I mean, that's our other big question of the day. And I'm glad you brought that up, that ICE has a new program that is encouraging people to self-report, and they get $1,000 and travel assistance, whatever that means, to go back to the country that they came from. Many people who live here as long-term undocumented immigrants have never lived in another country, or they were far too young, or they have really no connection to that country because they've been here for 5 or 10 or 20 years. Kilmar Abrego Garcia was here for many years. He's from here from 16 to, I believe, 28, 29 years old. So, I mean, there's no connection to El Salvador for him, for these people. So the notion, I mean, I struggle even, Dimitri, with like, should a government be asking people and creating conditions where people may want to self-deport? So if we give you a little carrot and we also give you this stick in another way, then you'll want to self-deport and we won't have to do our job. I'm like, if you can find these people and deport them legally, then you do that. But don't tell me you're doing it by making it like, well, if you self-deport, then you won't have to go through these horrific scenes.
That's what it feels like they're doing.
And that's exactly what they're doing. And the thing about it is, it speaks to how intelligent the government believes these people to be. ICE believes these people to be. The idea that if I breadcrumb, you give you just a little bit better than what you're known to, $1,000. That's not even a weekly salary in the United States. $1,000 for most. $1,000. The thing about it is, I recently came back from Canada. I went over to Canada to see how they're living on that.
Are you okay?
And I'm safe. I'm safe.
Okay.
It was actually a very beautiful place. And you know, and I'm not gonna say to my shock because I've known nothing about it, but it goes to show, and it showed me for sure, that stepping outside of what you're used to, even if what you were used to was a good thing, and seeing something else can make you attracted to it. So imagine if I came from nothing and I went to somewhere better. These people, I'm not turning myself in for $1,000. I'll tell you that.
You know, even Canadians, you bring up going to Canada, even Canadians have been treated this way. And historically, we actually liked Canadians. We as Americans, we know nothing about Canada, but we like Canada. Canada is fine, right? We don't mind them. But even Canadians are being, show them the Canadian clip.
Jasmine Mooney is a Canadian citizen who had a work visa, no criminal record, and, quote, I was taken to a tiny freezing cement cell with bright fluorescent lights and a toilet. There were 5 other women lying on their mats with aluminum sheets wrapped over them, looking like dead bodies. The guard locked the door behind me. Quote, I was told to shower, given a jail uniform, fingerprinted, and interviewed. I begged for information. How long will I be here? I don't know your case, the man said. Could be days, could be weeks. But I'm telling you right now, you need to mentally prepare yourself for months.
I want to hear all of you talk about Sarah first. What would you do if you were her? You don't have a phone call. You're stuck in the pokey. You can't get out.
Yeah.
Maybe weeks, maybe days, maybe months. The guy's telling you prepare mentally for months. What would you do?
Well, I'm grateful to come from a family that is like Liam Neeson and Taken. If I go missing, they come looking. Okay, like I got a bunch of people that have my location.
Barry is loved.
I can't go missing for long. Literally, if I don't talk to my parents, like if I miss a day, they're like, "Is everything okay? What's going on?" So I'm grateful for that, but also I feel like the fact that these people think it's okay to treat a human being worse than a dog in a kennel. Like dogs in kennels have more space, get more love and more compassion than these people that are crammed together like sardines in a gate. I am not an animal. And so for me, my question is, what repercussions are there for the people that are wrongly choosing the wrong people? Because that Canadian woman had a work visa. So this is another example of how they it's like, oh yeah, if we got it wrong, it's just wrong. Oh no, there needs to be some sort of legal repercussion that you could take. I'm suing. Something you can't accidentally grab me.
But you know what, Sarah? You know, when you sue, you are speaking to the Department of Justice. And that is controlled by Donald Trump, right? And we don't care, right? And the judge who you may see in your suit perhaps was appointed by Trump or hopes to move up, because it's very difficult to have any sort of recourse. I just want to remind folks before I hear from Dimitri what he would do, that these people, the Supreme Court has said being in the country illegally in and of itself is not a crime. So just being here, having crossed the border, is not a crime. And the crime of crossing the border is a misdemeanor. It's not a felony. So this notion of like, they're criminals, they should be like, no. And you know what? People who are in this country illegally pay taxes. They have payroll taxes. They have taxes on their rent, or if they should own a home. So they are paying into the system. So they are not freeloaders. There is not this notion of immigrants commit less crime than natural born citizens. So there's not this notion that they are takers, they are criminals. All these are myths that are grafted onto immigrants in this country and other countries to make them look bad. But okay, Dimitri, the ICE guy grabs you. You're like, I'm Dimitri Wiley from Truth Talks. He's like, I don't care. Get in the cell. You may be in there for months. What do you do?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man, and this is the complete truth. It might be the end of me that day. Reason being, because I go from Dimitri Wiley on Truth Talks to black man who will not be contained or detained and treated like an animal. So it may be the end of me. I don't want to say there's this rage or anything like that lives inside of me, but there is this fight for freedom. And I know for fuck sure my freedom is more than $1,000. I know it's more than $10,000, $1 million, all of that. And it couldn't be me. Days, weeks, months, an hour. I need answers now. Or me and everybody in this cage, I'm convincing them to break this door down. And we're going to fight for our freedom.
Dr. B?
You know, there's a fight or flight. And you can't flight, right? Because you're in the cage, you're in captive. So what do? You fight. And fighting isn't always an external thing. I love what Dimitri said, but for me, I'd be starting to build allyships. I'd be starting to see how I can build relationships with the guards, with the officers, with whoever arrested me. I don't care who it is. You know, there's a thing called white privilege, y'all, but there's also a thing called pretty girl privilege. And that's something I know I got. If I have to stand on that and whatever other privilege I have, I'd have to use that to be able to make my call, to be able to reach out, to be able to get out. It doesn't make a difference. When it comes to my freedom and when it comes to my livelihood, there's a lot of privileges that I do know I have and that I am definitely willing to use.
Well, you definitely have pretty girl privilege, that's for sure. But the White House has been using photographs, let's see that video, of immigrants that they have arrested, not convicted, but arrested, and put these outside the White House. These people have not been convicted, but this prejudices and this affects their lives. Because people could walk by this, see this video and go, oh, there's that guy. And you think of him as a criminal. You're not supposed to think of people as criminals until they've been convicted, not just for an arrest. There is a due process conversation in this country where we adjudicate whether or not you're a criminal, not just because somebody said arrest you. But my God, this is horrific.
Yeah.
I thought I had to look real good. I thought that was me on one of them goddamn pictures. I'm saying I didn't get my goddamn picture. But in all actuality, for me, this feels a little too close to what lynching used to be. So when you were killed back in the day, they put the noose around your neck, tie you from a tree, and leave you there. Why? As public display. And this is exactly what this feels like to me. It feels as if we have power over these people, and we're going to show you each and every one of them. Because my thing about it is this. Trump, for example. We have all these convicted people, not even convicted, I'm sorry, arrested people we showing on his lawn. But the person in charge who probably ordered all of this shit to happen is a convict. So for me, none of it makes sense. It is, again, where is America going? What are we doing? How are we regressing so obviously? It's insane.
You know, this is a really personal issue for a lot of people. I'm sure there's some folks in our audience who may have been detained by ICE or know somebody, a family member, what have you. We would love to hear from you. We would love to hear your story and understand on a first person level what you're going through and what happened in that situation, because these are really frightening. And when these arrests happen because of political reasons, you are a supporter of Palestine. That's what it is right now. It could next be you're a supporter of trans people. And then it could be you're a supporter of the Democratic Party. And when we are having people arrested, detained, deported over their political ideas, this is not America.
Right. At all.
Sarah.
Well, it just makes me think, like, if this is what they're showing so blatantly in our face and so publicly at the White House, imagine what they're doing in dark cells. Imagine what they're doing on these unmarked locations where they're bringing these people and we don't even know when they disappear. Imagine how much power and authority those people that are detaining them feel like they have, just like the officers we saw in the prior video that are aggressively and strongly forcing a woman to the ground, or strongly and aggressively putting someone's arms behind their back. Like, just imagine, because if whatever they show you in your face, please believe it's 10 times worse behind closed doors. So Dr. B, you said about pretty privilege. This is the thing. If someone thinks you're an animal, it doesn't matter how beautiful you are. And that's why this is so unfair, because it is inhumane. They're not treating us like the beautiful women or handsome men or incredible people like we are. They are treating us like animals, which is so ironic because our President Trump has 34 counts of felonies. How is it that this man is able to say, oh, you need to leave because you were a rapist and you were a killer and you were this? You're pulling people holding newborns from their homes with families.
And the thing is that Dimitri, some people in America like this. Some people in America voted for this. They want to see the cruelty. Trump has very effectively weaponized this vision of us and them.
Yes.
And the them must be dealt with violently.
Yeah, but this is a lot of people's way, for the ones who voted him in office, of quote unquote making America great again. This is what they meant by making America great again. And to answer Sarah's question, I just said it. Our president has given himself, through his strategic plans, qualified immunity. So technically, this man could do anything, even as far as put a hit out on somebody while he's in office, and he will not be prosecuted for it. That's what qualified immunity is. It is dangerous for him to have that. A person in power should not have that type of immunity. He also is going as far as making sure that law enforcement has qualified immunity. You know what that means, Dimitri? They can pull you over, beat your ass, and shoot you if they feel like it. And guess what? They are protected from being prosecuted. They still get their pension. They still have their job. And guess what? We have to plan your funeral and we have to mourn you. It is a dangerous thing when we have a dangerous man who is a clown in a circus and he has qualified immunity to protect himself from whatever decision he decides to make.
I mean, you know, I don't know that we should look at 2028 as the end of Trump. I think we should be prepared that he will do something that will lead to more years of Trump. And then in 2029, he will continue to be president. He may cancel the election altogether. He may threaten the states that might want to vote against him. I don't think we're going to see some like repeal of the 22nd where it's Obama versus Trump. Who gets the third term? It'll be Trump just destroying our democracy the same way we're seeing in these sort of ICE stories.
Yeah, because correct. He said that once you vote me in for president, what did he say? You would never have to vote again.
Yep.
The man tells us his plans that he has continuously carried out.
And Sarah, you made the point before about like, well, what happens in the shadows is perhaps even worse. I'm not sure, only because Trump consistently puts it out in the front. If he didn't tell us, hey, Russia, go look for Hillary's emails, if he didn't let us see the corruption of the meme coins and the Kilmar Abrego Garcia stuff, like we wouldn't know. Like if that stuff was secret, it would be a big deal. But he just does it out in public. He says things that other people say. He says it out in public, and we're like, surely taking a $400 million plane is corruption. And they're like, but he did it out in public, so it's not corruption. Like it's ridiculous. Go ahead, Sarah.
Well, I think the thing that comes up for me inside of this is, first of all, I have a question, and we could get to that after. But the question is, why is this even the focus? There are so many things that need to be done and addressed in this country. Why? And this is really, look, I'm not the politic girl. You guys know that. I have conservative thoughts. I have critical thinking ideas. But why is this the focus? And then the other question is, once this starts to go where he is deporting and he is this cruel and he is this terrible, is it not a matter of time until he's now able to do that to blacks?
Yeah,
like, are we not affected because it's not us?
No, I think that is absolutely a very real potential future. Like I said, we're seeing a lot of pro-Palestinian activists being spotlighted, grabbed, detained, deported. This happened to multiple people, not just Mahmoud Khalil. So yeah, I mean, like as you get further along in like political dissidence, like absolutely we could see Trump start to say, Patrice Cullors, DeRay McKesson, like, you know, whoever, Black Lives Matter leaders, NAACP leaders, you know, all sorts of things. That absolutely could happen. He clearly sees Black people as a threat, which is why we see the DEI stuff and all the other stuff that he talks about. So yeah, that could happen. I mean, I'm absolutely personally afraid that one day somebody could detain me out of the Trump administration. Like that could absolutely happen, and I live in fear of that. And Dimitri, I don't know if you feel afraid of that, but just us being in public, speaking and being critical of the Trump administration. I do a TikTok, bunch of 100,000 people see it, criticizing Trump. Who knows that he's not going to say, shut him up, make him be right.
And I think the thing about it is, even further back to Dr. Bryan and what she mentioned. They talking about the thing about it is we all vote. We all. Let me stop. I almost fucked up.
I ain't
They voted this man in, right? And they knew exactly what they were doing when they did it. He told you everything he was going to do with the slogan "Make America Great Again." You tell me when the fuck America was great. When was it ever good to us? Somebody please tell me, because he wasn't referring to 2004. You can go to any point in history. The U.S. government has never been good to us. It didn't exist. But now we're regressing because this man is in office. We're going back to what slavery used to look like. And it's in bits and it's in pieces. In bits and pieces. Only because he's alive. He was smart enough to say, listen, guys, they're at the KKK meeting. Listen, guys, I know how we can get it back out there. We just got to do it a step at a time. And that's exactly what the fuck he's been doing. So this, I honestly seen a lot of this coming. It's terrifying. But now the question becomes, are we ready to handle it?
No, it's
and
super
let me
terrifying.
say this real quick, Torre, how he gaslight Black people really quick. He said birth citizenship, meaning if you were born here, you get the citizenship, right? He said birth citizenship was created for Black slaves, not for anybody else but the Black slaves that were brought over here. So what he try to feed us and sell to us as Black people is, look, I'm doing this for you. I'm getting these people out of here because you're the only ones that deserve citizenship. That is our way of giving you back your giving you back your equity that we took away from you. This is how we do it. And then he went on to say that, also, Black folks, you don't want these immigrants in this country. You know why? Because they're taking your jobs. They're taking the job. First of all, when I sat and asked about hundreds of employees that are mine and constituencies that are Black, would you take any of these jobs? I'm going to speak it how I said it, that because I'm Mexican and Black, I can say this, that our Mexican brothers and sisters have the gardening, the electrician. You know what they said? Hell no. They said, hell no. Will you go crop the crop? So what I'm looking at it is Trump, and I'll wrap on this, is trying to get in his vision, get these immigrants out of here so that he can make all those Black jobs. But watch this. Those Black jobs he keeps calling Black jobs were the exact same jobs we had in slavery. So you want to talk about modern day slavery? You want to talk about him creating a pathway to make America great again when America was great for one race of people, when we, the Black people, were picking cotton, cropping, harvesting, and doing all the other things that our Latin, Mexican, brown brothers and sisters are doing today. So that is his way of making America great again, putting us back in slavery. But guess what? I know for sure we're not going for that.
You're absolutely right that it's about making America great again for white people and restoring white people to the sense of dominance that they have expected to have throughout their lives. It feels like, and to what you're saying, when he talks about Black jobs, he's talking about working class jobs, menial labor, right? Things that most people don't want to do. When you are removing Black people from the middle class by eliminating DEI and affirmative action, you are trying to push us down into working class jobs and a working class existence. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being working class. I'm talking about Trump trying to push the masses of us down into that. We need to expand our middle class so we can have a fruitful economy. If you siphon out the middle class and push us down to the working class, then that is bad for the entire Black community. And this is basically what the Trumps are trying to do. And I can't even imagine what would happen if like a George Floyd happened and we were out in the streets in a BLM sort of way at 2020 again, and Trump started doing these sorts of things, right? I mean, like, it would be incredibly chilling in that people would not want to talk because I might get arrested. Go ahead, Sarah.
I mean, I agree with you. I think everything that you're saying is the truth. I feel like this is a way to build it all up for Black people. And the question is that really the actual war? By taking out the strongest thing that's here? Because we, like I've said, many, and I will continue to say it, scream it from the rooftops, we are some of the most resilient, strong, figure it out kinds of people on the planet because of what we've been through. And somehow, even with all of the setbacks, we continue to thrive a little bit, then we get set back. Then we thrive a little bit more, then we get set back again. Then we thrive a little bit more. And so I would say, just like Dimitri said, it's piece by piece by piece. Now is the time to start having this conversation because those pieces add up to a whole. One day we might look up and it is Black people getting detained for no reason. It is, oh, well, I'm a dual citizen. Well, if you have a passport with Canada, you can't be an American citizen. It is all of these new laws and legislatures that could be put in place based off of a man that is a dictatorship.
Dr. B, last thing. Are we building up to a war on Black people from Trump?
I think we're building up to, similar to what you just said, Touré, Black people being suppressed more, being oppressed more, and becoming more of the labor workers. And I want to say this, as Black people, as a successful, strong Black woman, run the biggest civil rights organization and representing for all of us in the best way that I can, we are more than labor workers. We are more than middle class. We are more than poor. We are more than inner city. We are more than uneducated. We are more than broken families, broken homes. We are contractors. We are business owners. We are elected officials. We are presidents of the United States of America, thanks to Obama, who gave us that representation. Okay. We can run for office. We can run office. We can strategize. We can do all of those things. And it's up to us to make sure that we keep pressing the throttle, breaking the glass ceiling, and letting them know that whether you want us at the table or not, we got a chair. We got a seat. And if we got to sit on the motherfucking table, then we're sit right on that thing. But we here, we have a voice, and we are not going to stop regardless of what that looks like. That's what's most important. No matter what his strategy is or what his plan is, let's go back to what is our plan? What are we going to do? What does that look like from us? When do we start to create that? When do we start to think that way? We got to stop caring about his plan and figure out what is ours. What offense are we playing? What defense are we playing? What are we doing besides having a great conversation about it? I'm tired of thinking about it. We need call of actions. We need people in place, and we need leadership that knows how to move things, mobilize people, and get things done.
Dimitri.
You know, absolutely. But I think more than just desensitizing the world with how he's been treating immigrants and folks of Latin descent, it's about building up confidence in those who are racist enough to look at the world and say, they can do it, I can do it. Those are my people doing this. It starts with arrests on the front lawn of the White House, and then you got the George Zimmermans of the world. There's things on their front line identifying the black people they've killed. I think it's a start. It's a starting point, and that's all he's given them. And to me, as a black man in America, I ain't going for it. And I know there's plenty of black people in America who will not go for it. It's time to fight back strategically, that is.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's a very difficult moment for Black America. I think a lot about Black time travel, right? Like you said, like, is there any point in time I would rather go back to in America? No, like not at all. But this moment right here is extraordinarily difficult for us as well, right? We're not enslaved, but there's a massive wealth inequality. We have a massive policing problem. And we have Trump, who is perhaps the most anti-Black president maybe ever, maybe since slavery. We could argue about if people who actually held slaves are worse than him. But this is pretty bad. And this is an attack on DEI. This is an attack on our bodies. This is an attack on our freedom and our liberty. And I think Black people are going to need to do a lot of self-care to get through these next 4 to 8 years that we are stuck with Trump. He's going to go out feet first. This is a wonderful episode. I love you guys. You brought your heart and your soul and all the things. So give it up for yourselves for keeping it real. Dimitri, you should be a rapper because you was giving me bars. He said, Black power is worse for the country than Black criminals.
That was so good.
I'm going to write that on the wall.
I'm going to use that, Dimitri. I'm using that. I'm stealing it.
And for those of you that are
we're not going to quote it. We just took it. It's just ours now.
All right, y'all. For those of you that are listening or watching, let us know in the comments below if you know someone that has been detained or if you have been detained. We want to hear your story. We want to know what's happening out there. So if this is you or someone you know, please comment below. Your story matters. You matter. And we're going to continue to have these kinds of conversations because this is what shifts the trajectory of our future. Back to you, Jorge.
Amen. Sarah, Dr. Bryant, Dimitri, fantastic show. These guys are going to be with us all season long. Truth Talks, keeping it real. We're going to have amazing guest stars, also D.L. Hughley, Ebony K. Williams, Mark Lamont Hill, all sorts of fabulous, brilliant Black minds coming in. But I love chopping it up with these three right here because this is beautiful. This is beautiful Black brilliance. Thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe on our YouTube at TruthTalks-Live. You can always watch us here in the Black Star Network, Roland Martin Unfiltered, or on YouTube at TruthTalks-Live. Support Black media. The links are all over the screen. Support us. Dimitri, Dr. B, Sarah, thank you so much. We're going to be here for you every night at 8 p.m. Come hang out with us. Have a drink with us.